Hey guys, Tom here from synthhacker.com, and in this video we're going to be looking at making from scratch an electro house, or just house in general, chord pluck that sounds something like this. Really nice sound. Actually quite simple to make as well. But it is kind of, hopefully you recognize that melody. Props if you do. It's actually the chord progression from an old Zed track called Spectrum from his album Clarity. And that's got some really nice sounds, quite similar to this. And this is kind of a pluck sound that you'd hear. It's kind of got a more aggressive feel to it than the tutorial that I did already on the kind of dead mousey trance pluck. But yeah, anyway, it's just a really nice sound, really simple to make, and we are going to be making it from scratch. But before I actually get into that, I'll just quickly mention, as you can see at the top here, it says Pluck 20. This is actually because it's one of the plucks that's included in my preset pack for Massive, which has over 500 presets included with that, and a 1.5 hour video course on Massive, which goes through all of Massive, explaining all of its features and stuff, so you can get a full understanding of the synth, as well as 500 presets, which I think you guys will really get a lot of use out of. So if you're interested in that, there's audio demos on the sales page, either in the link in the description below, or you can just type in synthhacker.com and it'll take you there as well. But without further ado, let's begin making this sound completely from scratch. So what we're going to do is simply just click New Sound here. And let's begin. So the first thing we're going to do, like in most sounds, is just start off in the voicing tab. We obviously want the sound to be polyphonic, because we are going to be playing chords with it. We want to be able to play more than one note at a time. And we're going to increase the unison amount to 7, so that each oscillator, when it plays a note, it's going to be outputting that note or that sound with 7 different voices. The reason that we can then hear those different voices is because they are slightly detuned using this unison spread parameter here. So make sure that the pitch cutoff unison spread is on, and just pull this slider to a bit to the right. Now I just kind of want to clarify something important here. Now, a lot of times when people are making pluck sounds, they don't really put much thought into this, and they're like, yeah, give it unison and detune. But this slider here is one of the most key things about setting the characteristics of the sound, of the pluck sound. The reason being is because the more kind of trancey plucks are definitely more detuned than the more kind of electro house plucks. So that the pluck that I already did a tutorial on for trance, the slider was like quite a far way to the right compared to what it is in this sound, which is going to be more to the left. The reason being is when it's more to the left, you can kind of hear more phasing between the individual voices, and it definitely gives it a more aggressive sound, which we obviously want from this electro house pluck. So that's that. I'm sorry if that bored you a little bit, but it's just really good knowledge to know. The next thing we're going to do is make sure that oscillator 1 and 2 are on. We're just using 2 oscillators for this sound, and we're going to have one oscillator an octave above the other, and then we're just going to slightly detune them a little bit as well. You can use either the SAW 1 or SAW 2 waveform. It doesn't really make too much difference. I think the SAW 2 waveform has a bit more upper harmonics, but we're just going to keep it at the default SAW 1 for now. Make sure that the wavetable position knob is all the way to the right, so we are just hearing the SAW wave and not anything in between the SAW wave and the square wave. Make sure intensity is full, and make sure both these oscillators are being routed straight through filter 1. The next thing we're going to do is just add a little bit of noise to the sound as well. Let me just show you what the sound sounds like so far first, actually. So you can really hear a lot of the characteristics of the sound already, especially the like detuned unison saws, but it doesn't yet have the pluck-like nature to the sound that we want. Just that definitely comes later on in the filter section. So what we're going to do before that is just take envelope 1 here, bring the sustain right down, give it quite a short decay. I'm going to drag and drop this onto the amplitude envelope. The amplitude parameter, sorry, for the noise oscillator, and make sure this is set to bright. This is just going to add a really short burst of noise at the start of the pluck, which really kind of makes it stick out of a mix a lot more. I really like doing this on pluck sounds, and make sure again that is being routed through filter 1. So the next thing we're going to do is dive into the actual filter section itself, and we're going to select this low pass 4-pole filter. We're going to bring the resonance very close to the bottom here, and now we've got this. Now this is really where the key part of the sound happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to take envelope 3 here. You can use either 2 or 3 because we already used 1, and envelope 4 is the amplitude envelope. And we're going to bring the sustain down a bit and the decay down a bit as well. In fact, we're going to bring the sustain nearly to a minimum, and then we're going to drag and drop the this envelope that we've set up onto the cutoff of low pass, this low pass 4-pole filter, and you'll hear this effect this now has. So already we're really close to the sound now. I'm just going to increase the release a little bit on the envelope filter. So we are actually nearly there now. The next thing to make sure we do is set up the effects and EQ. And also, in addition to that, we're going to bring the amplitude sustain envelope down a little bit as well. Just to make it even more pluck-like in nature. You could also bring this up a little bit more as well if you want. You can kind of match this to personal taste. If you have it more, it's got a little bit more body. I actually quite like it about halfway, actually, saying that. So yeah, somewhere around here is good enough. And then we're going to set up the effects. Now, one of the main, the other differences between a pluck like this for trance and a pluck with in an electro house track that's quite common is there's kind of less reverb, like a more dry reverb on the pluck, and it's usually got a smaller size as well. So the reverb that I really like to use for electro house plucks is the reverb small, and to bring the dry wet down a bit as well. That sounds really good to me. Maybe just going to increase the size a little bit here, and we are going to give the sound the amplitude envelope a little bit more release as well. I forgot about that. So that's pretty much nearly the whole sound. There are other things you could do. You could add a few inserts such as the sine shaper or parabolic shaper, just to add a bit of distortion to the sound to make it even more aggressive if you wanted. You could play around with different wavetables. You could also increase the high shelf EQ amount just to and maybe decrease some of the low end as well, because you probably are going to want to have a sub under the sound. That's just a good way to polish the sound up a little bit. So if we take some of the sub frequencies out with the low shelf parameter, and also increase some of the high end frequencies as well, just to make it a bit crisper, a bit sharper sounding. But yeah, that pretty much covers the sound, guys. So hopefully you got some use out of this video. It is a really cool sound. As I mentioned at the start of the video, if you haven't already, please do feel free to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking subscribe down below. It really helps support me and helps the channel grow and helps me reach more people and help more people get to grips with synths like Massive and learn sound design and stuff. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Again, if you haven't already, go ahead and check out synthhacker.com as well. I'll click the link in the description below and that'll take you to my Massive preset pack. That really helps support me and really helps support the channel and keeps me being able to produce free videos like this for you guys. And you get your hands on some really nice presets for Massive. Like as I mentioned, there's over 500 presets in that pack, and also an 1.5-hour video course which goes through all of Massive, explaining all of its features and functionality, so you can really get to grips with this synth and start making your own really unique sounds as well for your production. So yeah, definitely go check that out. Again, link in the description below or synthhacker.com. And yeah, without further ado, I'm going to get off. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.